Hey there, book besties and cozy cousins. It's me, Amabi, and I'm back at it again. And today we are going on a natural small town adventure. We're first going to the first farmers market of the season in historic Lewes. I'm so excited because I'm looking to get some new flowers, like cut flowers, not ones to plant. But if you have been following my gardening journey on TikTok, make sure to check out next week because we have some really cool stuff to show you. And if you're not, why aren't you following me on TikTok? Speaking of which, make sure you subscribe to the tribe down below and hit that bell notification so that you're notified every single time that I post a new upload. So without further ado, let's get going. So right now we are walking along one of the trails in Holt's Landing Park. It is such a beautiful park. It has so many different things. There's beaches, there's ponds, there's little groves that have picnics. But we started off here at this really beautiful forested place. It is such a beautiful day for it, even though it's 80 some degrees. We are in a shaded forest path. You see, I have my hair covered just in case of ticks or chiggers, and we are just walking along. It's really nice. I got my water. I've been spraying myself with both sunscreen and bug spray. As you can see, honey bun's leaving me in the dust. We're gonna have kind of like a little picnic once we get back to like the shaded little grove area. And yeah, it's really beautiful. There's even like a little beach area. So yeah, I'm really loving it. I just needed to be out and about in nature for a little bit. Even though I am 7 months pregnant, I just love kind of moving my body once the weather is nice. It's nice to be able to do that and have the sun on you and no snow or rain or any other nasty weather. It's actually really nice. Hey again, book besties. We are back at Holt's Landing Park. Right now we're sitting in like a picnic grove, and I just sat down with like our little cute picnic basket, and I'm currently reading Blood Justice. I just finished Blood Debts by the same author. Blood Debts is the first of this cute duology. I don't know if it's going to become a series, but it's based in New Orleans, in a magical realism New Orleans, where there are 3 types of magic. There is like sun magic, which is like white mages. There is shadow magic, which are like vamps, which we haven't really explored, but I think are like vampires. And then there is moon magic, which is called gen magic, but it's generational magic. And essentially the main characters are these sets of twins that have kind of been exiled from their magical birthright of being like the royalty of the Gen Magic Coalition. And it turns out that they uncover like a 30-year plot that unseated their family, killed their grandmother and grandfather, and essentially set their family into disarray. It's called Blood Debts because whenever somebody in the magical community does something that causes a death or something like that, they can do what's called a blood debt to reconcile it. And essentially it's just really interesting. There are gods that take place. There's a lot of closed generational magic that is very intricate and special to New Orleans. So it's been such a great read. It is YA, but it's one of those YA books that you don't feel like is YA. You can actually enjoy it as an adult. It doesn't try to be too simplistic or too, for a certain age group, but very great read. I'm only in like the 3rd or 4th chapter, and it is dual POV, so you get multiple perspectives, including some of the other minor characters, depending on how their perspective kind of plays into the larger plot. But these are really great, almost like mystery books that I've really been enjoying. And I've been trying to get back into my physical TBR because if you have been watching, I did buy like 7 books from Book Outlet. And I was like, I really need to get into these books because otherwise they're just sitting on my shelf. So really glad to read this. If you guys have read this, make sure you let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we're just gonna sit and read for a little bit and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful day. Good morning, book besties. So yesterday we had so much fun at Holt's Landing Park. It is in Dagsboro, Delaware. If you're ever interested in visiting, they have a beach, they have like little ponds, they have a like 1.5 forested trail, and when you first come into like the parking lot area, there are like picnic tables and like these really pretty trees growing around, as well as like a cute playground, and then this little platform. I didn't get a whole lot of like b-roll footage, but I would definitely recommend it. I'm doing this in my bathrobe early in the morning because our original plan was that we were going to go to the Delaware Botanics Garden. I've had the ticket since last week because little plug, shameless plug for Delaware libraries, but our museums, part of our library patronism is that we get to go to museums and national parks that usually would be a fee, using like checking out little passes. So you can have them for like up to a week. We didn't get to go last week because the Botanic Gardens is actually closed from Monday to Wednesday. I've been there many times before. You can actually check out, there's not 1 but 2 videos on my channel. I'll post the most recent one like up here. And what I think is so funny is that I absolutely love the Botanics Garden, but I was like, oh, well, let's go to Holt's Landing because we've never been there before, even though the Botanics Garden changes literally every season. They have like a new installment, looks completely different, and they also have like a shaded woody path that you can walk along. Such a nice place to just hang out and chill. But I really wanted to go to Holt's Landing, and they're only like 10 minutes apart, but because I'm pregnant, I can't be out in like direct heat for like too long. So we were scared I was going to overheat. So unfortunately we had to leave, and we were planning to go back today, but today it's raining. So but hopefully we'll be able to go sometime next week, or I'll just, you know, pay the penalty. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the duology that I had yesterday at the park. So I finished Blood Debts. This was a instant 5-star for me. First of all, it's set in New Orleans. Anybody that knows anything about me knows that I absolutely love low country, like deep South. Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, really big fan. So it's set in New Orleans, and I did give a little bit of a synopsis, but what I really enjoyed was that these 2 twins were very different, but they carried a lot of the same coping mechanisms. And throughout the book, there are moments where they want to talk to one another, but because of their own shame or fear of repeating their own like family curse of like being separated and being mad at one another and not talking to one another, instead they hold things inside. And it really kind of resonated with me because I am a person that I do not vent. Like, I am not the girl that's like gonna call all my friends and be like, I'm so sad. Like, I'm just not that girl. So I really resonated with this, especially with like deep feelings of sadness and anxiety. Like, really resonated with this. So it's a great book about grief, magic, generational trauma, and what it takes to actually break a generational curse. Like, such a great book. Now, the follow-up, Blood Justice, I got both of these books from Book Outlet. So I was like, I've been literally so addicted to my Kindle, it's not even a game. I also took off all the stickers, so let me know down below if you guys want to see me like redecorate it. But I've been so addicted to my Kindle that I have been ignoring my physical TBR, including the 7 books that I bought from Book Outlet that I've been raving to everybody about, but I have not up a physical book in months. So I decided to start with this because I knew I was most likely to finish this. It's YA, it's magical, it's blackety black, all the things that I like. So I decided to pick this back up, and I'm so glad that I did, because after seeing Sinners, and that's a whole separate video, because y'all, I can go on for hours and hours and hours about how much I loved that movie. I saw it a second time. I might see it a third time come this Tuesday. I just have been in such a Southern Gothic mood. Like, even before Sinners came out, I was like searching high and low for like Southern Gothic, like dark fantasy and horror, because I've been in a really big horror kick. If you guys saw my last video, I know I'm plugging like every video I've ever made, but if you guys saw my Q1 wrap up, my most recent video before this, I read like the majority of the 10 books I read. I think like 6 of them are horror. So I've really just been in that mood, but I have exclusively been reading, like, for the last few months, like black horror, but now I want to read black Southern Gothic horror. So this is definitely giving me that vibe. Even though it's more fantasy than horror, there are horrific aspects, because like magic is messy. I mean, there's no other way to get around it, and I've really enjoyed it. So big fan. But what I wanted to talk about is like my little light May TBR. Is that, of course, I'm going to finish Blood Justice. Hopefully that will also be another 5-star. But I also wanted to get into some poetry books. I am a poet, actually. I am a poet, actually, but I like unceremoniously stopped writing, but really stopped publishing and stopped sharing at open mics. The things that I've written over the years. And I think I'm really just in this phase in my life where I want to get back into creativity for creativity's sake. Like, not what I think people will like, not, oh my God, do people even read poetry anymore? It's like, I really want those thoughts to kind of take a back seat. So I have kind of compiled a list of some poetry books that I'm interested in reading. We'll start with these two. Yes. I got these 2 poetry books last year from Penguin Random House. Thank you, Penguin Random House. I'm really excited to read them. I read a couple from Rangi Kora by Tai Tibble, and she is I want to say New Zealandite. Yeah, she's an indigenous New Zealand writer, and was also like the poet laureate. And her poems are so interesting. There's like this intersection of like sexuality and identity and culture, and like, you know, white erasure of like indigenous cultures, especially in places like New Zealand. What I think is so exciting about this is that it's just so unapologetic. In the handful of poems that I read, even the way that she writes the poetry, it is just so in your face. It just doesn't care. There's slashes instead of like different forms, like the stanzas you would think of with poetry. And though there are some that have that, like, what I think is so interesting is she's not afraid to curse. She says everything exactly the way she thinks it. And I'm so appreciative of poetry like this, because it makes me feel like I don't have to dress up what I'm saying in order for it to come through and still be poetic and beautiful and aesthetic. And yeah, I mean, you can tell by the cover she's that girl. I mean, look at the picture in the back. She is the blueprint. So really excited to read this. I'm also excited. This is another that came in that same box. This is by Layla Motley, and this is called Woke Up No Light. And now this one is, again, I've read just a handful of them. Also another poet laureate. And it's really about womanhood, like Black womanhood especially, and how it is interconnected with like our history as Black people, connected to our ancestors, to her own female family members. And again, it's just so powerful. I love the color. I love the cover itself, and just having like a singular image of a young black girl kind of like, you know, skipping along. Even the title invokes a certain thought process. Like woke up no light is like, you know, is it dark? Are the lights cut off? Are there, you know, there's so many questions that you just naturally have. So I am so excited to read this. Again, another girly that knows she's that girl. Um, yeah, and then it's separated into these different sections like girlhood, neighborhood, falsehood, womanhood. And I'm just really excited to read it because, again, I'm getting back into my poetry era and I gotta tap in. So I want to read these two. Again, these are from Penguin Random House. Thank you, Penguin Random House. If you guys are interested in any of the books that I'm going to be talking about, they will be linked down below. And then these next two I got from the library. Now, last month was National Poetry Month, and even though it's May now and, you know, it was last month, I didn't want to just not acknowledge how much poetry has become, like, has always been a part of my life, literally since second grade. And I think a part of my own, like, coming into 30 is realizing that, like, I don't have to create art for other people to enjoy it. I create art because it deserves to live its own life in the world. And so I picked up a couple of different, I picked up two books by two poets that I can recognize. The first is Joshua Bennett. Now, in the early 2010s and like 2000s, he was like a slam poet that was all over YouTube, all over Def Poetry Jam, all over like Brave New Voices, which was a if you have Max, you need to look these things up, especially if you love poetry. But all over Def Poetry Jam and Brave New Voices. And he always stuck out to me because he had a speech impediment, but it never took away from how powerful his words were. So I was just really excited. This is actually his second collection. This is called Ode. And what I love is kind of like the double entendre of the word ode. Like, it makes you think of like ode to this, but it is spelled O-W-E-D, like what you owe to other people. And essentially it's like this very interesting meditation on like black manhood in America. And my husband yesterday was like, what are you reading? And I was like, oh, I'm reading this poetry collection. I've been trying to get back into my poetry bag by like reading more, and I've been writing more, but I'm trying to kind of, how I described it to him was like, I've always made mixtapes of poetry. I want to learn how to make an album of poetry. And like the difference between a collection and just like a arrangement of poetry is that a collection has a theme. It has a heartbeat that goes all the way through it. And so reading these different poetry collections have helped me kind of conceptualize what is the main idea, what is the theme of the collection that I want to create. So the first poem is like so good. It's literally so good. Again, this is separated into 3 parts, but they're just like Roman numeraled parts, and they are so palpable. Like, he made me read some to him. My husband made me read some to him last night, and he was like, I felt every part of that. Like, being a young black man in America, I felt every single part of that. I understood every part of it. And I was like, yeah, like 100%. Like, on the back it says that he has a virtuistic kind of code switching. And I love that, because if you're from a black American culture or from the black diaspora and you understand what it's like to have this skin in America, like there are certain things that he says that could be read one way if you don't have that same cultural understanding, and could be interpreted a completely different way if you do. And I don't know, I just love playing with language. That's always what I've loved about poetry, is that like you literally can play with language. There are no rules, and I think that's what makes it so powerful. So really excited to keep reading this. I actually got this from the library. I also got the Khalil Gibran The Prophet. He was a like early Harlem Renaissance poet, but he passed away in 1931. And he was just like a very powerful speaker. His poems are always, I would say, like not matter of fact, but they are like, he is so philosophical about everything that he writes. And I think what I find so empowering is just how he literally says it, but it's like he's saying words that you know, but putting them together in a way that just makes you feel like that is how love feels, that is how pain feels, that is how, you know, this particular thing feels, or that particular thing. So he's just kind of going down these different parts of life, and I think that's what makes it literally so prophetic. It's literally called The Prophet. So really excited to read all of these. This is like my little mini May TBR. I'm sure I'm going to read more books than this because I just downloaded some bangers. Let me not exclude them. I just downloaded some bangers on Kindle Unlimited. Actually, no, I take it back because I'm going to probably make a separate video about that. But I'm really trying to get into urban romance and urban fiction in general, because I've just been hearing the girls talk about the Capone series, and I was just like, okay, I need to read it. Like, I love dark fantasy, I love dark romance, I love paranormal romance, and I love anything urban. Like, Bluford High is how I got into reading again in high school. So I'm locked in. I can't wait. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though I came to you early in the morning. But I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, our little picnic day out and moving around, going to the farmer's market, eating that delicious cinnamon roll. I'm actually about to finish it because it was so huge. But if you are ever in Southern Delaware, I have lots of places that you can enjoy, including the station at King's, on King's, which is where we got our delicious breakfast. And I also got a matcha latte that was literally like, thank you. But yeah, and the historic farmers market just started up again. So I was so glad we got to go to that yesterday. Like, we had such a fun packed day out in the sun, and like that just feels so great to me and liberating. I love being outside. I love it, love it, love it. So if you guys are interested in seeing any more of my adventures, make sure to check out some of my other videos and hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification so you're notified every single time I post a new video. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.